buy or sell. The play-in tournament was almost a waste of time because the original seventh and eighth seeds are going to the next round. What's this?
Anyway, anyway, I
Yes.
will buy that. You know what though? You're right. It gives for this particular season, it gave the hype, but it ended
Mhm.
up being what it was supposed to be anyway. Like, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, maybe that's why they're going to be instituting the in season tournament just for another spark for NBA fans. But when we're talking about letdowns, I just think that that is a letdown as a whole. Like you want to watch the game and you hope that the ninth and tenth seed really moves into one of the seven or eight spots, and it didn't happen this time. It's like, what?
I know. And I think last year was the same thing. So I think the NBA probably need to take another look at this. And as you mentioned, replace the play in with the end season and give fans, something to look forward to. And I think it's going to be in the middle of the season, right?
Yes, supposed to be in the middle of the season. Yeah, that's what I read. So we'll see how it
Uh
goes.
huh.
But yeah, the play-in tournament is not supposed to be this. If at the end of the day the seventh and eighth seeds are still the seventh and eighth seeds, then how successful really is this play-in tournament?
Exactly. Because what you did was what the NBA ended up doing is putting extra mileage and
Yes.
basically eliminating some of the rest that the seventh and eighth seeds could have had going into the playoffs.
That is correct. That is correct.
Hmm.
Don't do that. But I get the build up. I understand the need for the build up. I get it. But you know what though, people, if you're an NBA fan, you're already ready for the playoffs anyway.
Oh yeah, I've been ready.
By week, maybe 4 weeks before the end of the regular season, you're ready for the playoffs. You're just ready for
Hmm.
it because you already know the top three seeds, top six seeds are pretty much solid. Now it was a little bit touch and go for the West when we're talking about between 7 and 10, which was cool, but we're still where we are. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't do that.
I know.
Don't. It was so anticlimactic. If that's how you want to put it, but it was crazy.
Right. So let's talk about probably the biggest game of the night, in my opinion. Now, some people may say the Bulls and the Heat was the highlight, but I think the OKC and the Timberwolves was the biggest draw for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Yes, yes. Well, unless you are a Heat fan and a Bulls fan, you were really rooting for them. So and it depends on where you sit in the spectrum of East and West.
Right.
But let's go and get into this Timberwolves OKC matchup.
Well,
Yeah.
what
Wow.
I know.
Ah,
Yeah, disappointing in a way, but I kind of, watching the game, I said, okay, OKC looks like one of the youngest teams in the league right now. They're going up against some semi-veterans, and it really showed. Let me just say.
you know what? One thing I did notice, I felt that OKC's defense was off. They looked like they were just running around the floor. Like,
Hmm.
no, they didn't appear to be as locked in as they were when they were up against the Pales. It was really obvious to me. And I thought that was one of the missing pieces that they had in this game against the Wolves that really hindered their success in, obtaining that eighth seed. They just looked out of place. And Timberwolves came in being mature. I mean, being experienced. They just came in being experienced. And so when I think about the overall outcome of the game where the Timberwolves did secure the eighth seed and they will be up against the Nuggets in round one for the West, I kind of think that is just a better matchup than the Nuggets and OKC overall, especially after seeing what OKC did in that matchup with the Wolves. I just think it was just maybe the outcome was for the best.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think OKC laid an egg against the Timberwolves. But one of my key takeaways was I felt like Shea Gilgis and Nickeil Alexander Walker had their own mission. Everybody kept talking, oh, the cousins guarding each other. And I think they took it personal. Like they were really one on one. And I think it took away from what OKC normally does and what Shea Gilgis normally does on the court. So I think that was a big hindrance for the OKC Thunder because I'm like, Shay, it seemed like you're taking this a little to the hoop a little bit. Whereas in AW, I felt like he just kind of was like, hey, whatever team defense we were supposed to play, never mind that. I'm playing one on one against my cousin.
It was most definitely family. They reached back to their childhood on that one. It was like you
Yeah,
ain't gonna D me up, you ain't gonna win, beat me. They went
yeah,
back to 10 years old because they
they
their cousins. Now,
did.
I don't know if they grew up together, but I can only imagine. They're both probably competitive in their own right, and they're related. I'm quite sure that if they did grow up together, they probably battled all the time. And so this was a
Yeah.
display of that. I have to agree with you on that. And another thing is that NAW is new to the starting lineup, and I'm glad that he was there. He did his job. I ain't gonna even
Oh
hold you.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
did that. He's really showing out, and I think that this Timberwolves roster is the right fit for him because his previous roster, I don't think he really had any. He didn't get any airtime. He didn't get any play
No.
time. So
No.
now he's getting it, and now he's actually showing improving, and I'm really excited about that. Now, I just think that Shea Gilgeous was just off this game. And pretty much collectively, none of their shots were really going in.
They missed so many shots
I
at the
was
rim. I
like,
couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe 3-pointers weren't going in. They were laying up and the layups were short. I
Yeah.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is going? It was uncharacteristic of what the OKC had proved to us this whole entire season. Just wasn't expecting this playing game, an elimination game at that, to be for them to produce this. It was really odd. It was like they were off. And then once Shea Gill just went out with the elbow to the face and he came back, Jeff
I
Van
know.
Gundy said he looked like Rocky. I fell out.
He
But he came
did.
back, impaired. I know he tried to do his best, but the game was already kind of off anyway. But once he came back from that injury, he was able to get back into the game, which shows some type of dog, if you ask me,
Oh
because
yeah.
there's some players out here that would have been sitting out with an eye patch on.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
But he
hanging
did
out
not.
in the back. Yeah, hanging out in the locker room, waiting on the outcome of the game. But Shay, yeah,
Exactly. But
yeah.
not Gilgis Alexander. So I appreciate that about him getting back into the game, knowing how important it is for him and his team. But I think it took the wind out of them. It was just Giddy wasn't getting it. I was like, they seemed off, they seemed unprepared, and they just seemed outmatched. I'm gonna be honest.
Right. Now, Rudy Gobert made his return, and
Yeah.
now look. I mean, I've been very, very hard on Rudy. If y'all watch some of the old videos, I mean, Rudy, to me, he's still not tough enough at the rim. At his size,
Yeah.
there's no way a smaller player should be D'ing him up, snatching the ball from him, or getting the defensive rebound over him. It just shouldn't happen. However, Rudy did show flashes of like I didn't know you added that to your game. I saw him like dribble behind his back and lay it up with the left hand or something like that. I said, okay, Rudy, but I still need more toughness. And as they go into the next round, how is that going to look up against the Denver Nuggets defense?
It's not because the Denver Nuggets are much stronger than OKC. I think he just
Mm-hmm.
felt comfortable with OKC because he saw how small they were, because they are really small in the grand scheme of things. I know they can't wait for Chet Holmgren to come back and get
Oh,
into the starting lineup, but they're really small overall. And I just think he kind of felt comfortable. I think from what I can see in Rudy Gobert's game, that in that matchup, was that he was like, oh, okay, y'all, I can try some new stuff with y'all.
yeah, yeah.
I
Let
can
me
try,
just
but I'm
try
gonna
it
tell you
out.
one thing though. Rudy Gobert better fix them free throws. I'm gonna tell you
Oh my
that. And then I saw
goodness.
him do a set of free throws where he ended up on his tiptoes. Like, what is that a new move for him?
Yeah,
I
he
didn't like
needs
it.
to.
So figure out what
Mm-mm.
your free throw stance is, because I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna be able to do whatever you did in this game against OKC with the Nuggets.
Mm-mm.
That ain't gonna
No,
go. No, no. Every
nah.
free throw will count with the Nuggets if you guys want to even remotely win a couple of games. No.
I'm telling you, because he airballed one free throw. I'm like, close the door.
Yeah, just I wasn't impressed, but hey, hopefully, he'll feel that level of confidence. He did just come back. He was first before the game. I read maybe earlier that day or the day before where he was out due to back pains. And my first thought was, oh, you threw your back out punching Kyle.
Oh my God.
But he was able to play, so that was really good. So maybe he was just trying to get back into the rhythm, and so maybe with him playing game one against the Nuggets, he'll be more confident,
Ah,
since his return. So I thought that was kind of funny.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's talk briefly about the first game of the night. It was just the Bulls and the Heat. Now, hey, it looked like the Chicago Bulls were going to pull it off at first. But then, playoff Jimmy kicked in and it was and one son all night.
And when will these players understand that Jimmy Butler will bait you for a foul? When you
Oh,
gonna realize that? Now, see, in the previous game, when the Bulls played against the Raptors, Zach LaVine went off for 31 points. Zach, where were
what,
you?
what
This
happened?
is when they needed you, right? In this elimination game, you couldn't, repeat that. See, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. I'm gonna need the Bulls to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
You went
Yeah.
off in that game against the Raptors, and then when you need to show up against the Heat, you weren't there. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
See, and it was lower competition. The Miami Heat
Mm.
team is hard to beat. Now, first of all, I think the Miami Heat they toyed with the regular season all season, right? And they
Mhm.
saved themselves for the playoffs, especially Jimmy. And I believe they threw the first play-in game so that they could,
Ooh.
choose their opponent in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, I think the Miami Heat's culture showed out. And, Bam, although he did not, I don't think he had a good offensive game, but he grabbed a ton of boards. And that's exactly what they needed. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah. I just don't know if that level of inconsistency will work against the Bucks.
oh, no, it's not going to work.
So, and since Kyle Lowry went out with his knee that he re-injured or retweaked, they need him to play game one, round one. They need him to play. They need
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Lowry to play. And hopefully Max Strus will still be able to repeat his performance over and over again in round one, because that's exactly what the Heat will need. They're going to need that.
Yeah.
I still feel like Tyler Hero is invisible. I'm like, what it
Yes.
is about him? I don't know
Yes.
what happened. Did he lose his ability to outperform? Did the Six Man of the Year award stifle him? I just don't know what happened. I'm expecting more from Tyler Hero, and I still have not seen it this season at all.
No,
At all.
no. Did he get comfortable?
I
You
hope
know,
not.
he got
He
his
gon'
money, he got his contract, and he won six man. So maybe he's like, I'm chilling. But no, it's not a good look.
not a good look, and not a good look when you're gonna be on the end of the bench like Duncan Robinson. Like he is an
Yeah.
afterthought now. It's just so and then again, when we put all our trust in Jimmy Butler, when the Heat puts all their trust in Jimmy Butler, at the end of the series, he's going to be tired. Y'all want that again? So if the
Hmm.
Heat thinks that they're going to be able to breeze through, they're not going to breeze through round one. But
No.
if by chance they're able to bypass round one and they put all their eggs in the basket for Jimmy Butler, by the time, if we don't want history repeating itself, because we saw how gassed he was when they were in the NBA Finals that year, he was gassed.
Yes.
And y'all want that again to end up getting that far and not be able to close it out? So I'm just saying, other people need to step up. I'm need Bam. I know you got your board game going on in this last matchup, this recent one that you guys had when you sent the Bulls home. I'm gonna need that and your offense to kick in when you start playing the Bucks. You're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be all hands on deck. There's no way. The Bucks are gonna be so rested.
Oh
First
my
of all, they're
God.
already a better team. I think, they're stronger, they're big,
Yeah.
and they are recent NBA champions. So that championship DNA is gonna kick in. And it
Mhm.
might be embarrassing for the Miami Heat if they don't bring their A game. And I just don't know. They played with the regular season, they played with the play-in tournament, and now they chose their opponent. I just hey, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, y'all. Until next time.
We out.